April Cummings in for Donna Bush with the CIGTV News Update. In our top story, the young people of the Cayman Islands are set to benefit from a grant of nearly US $20,000 for the Queen Elizabeth II Botanic Park. The park is a 2018 recipient of the Clark 1% for Tomorrow Next Gen Award, an international program that supports nonprofits whose efforts preserve the environment. The Clark Foundation presented Botanic Park General Manager John Lowers with a check this week. The money will be used to further develop a children's garden over an acre of the extensive grounds the park occupies in Northside. Foundation Vice President Frank Clark explains the rationale and the process behind the award.
Today we were making an award, a donation to the Queen Elizabeth II Botanical Park and the projects that are taking place here. The award is based on our 1% for Tomorrow program, where we take 1% of our revenues from our next generation products. And these are mosquito control public health products that MRCU is using here as incorporated into their mosquito control program. They're softer, greener, next generation products. And we made this donation. We take 1%, and we have 7 regions around the world. And MRCU submitted a nomination based on behalf of the park, and we are pleased to make this award today, and we donated over $19,000 to the projects going on here at the park.
General Manager John Lowers says the money will be put to good use.
Children's Garden Project is one of the last pieces of the Botanic Park's master plan created in 1994. We are finally starting our construction, where we hope to be able to provide a space for children of the Cayman Islands, for somewhere they can interact with nature, appreciate our environment, and learn as they play in a safe environment. With thanks to the Clark's Foundation grant that we have just received, we hope to start construction in the next few months.
Environment Minister, the Honorable Dwayne Seymour, was present for the check handover, along with Councillor Captain Eugene Ebanks and Senior Policy Advisor for Environment, Troy Jacob. Now to the final part of our conversation with Financial Services Minister, the Honorable Tara Rivers, on recent efforts to promote the Cayman Islands shipping registry to international audiences. Looking ahead, Minister Rivers says that government is committed to taking a strong, proactive approach with regard to building the shipping register.
Reassuring to hear how well respected the Maritime Authority of the Cayman Islands is in this industry worldwide, and really, you know, the work of the CEO and his team, as I said, both domestically and worldwide, is something that we should be very proud of here in the Cayman Islands. And from looking at the future, obviously there is already a dominance in the kind of yachting arena, especially the super yachting categories. We've had discussions with some, you know, kind of renowned, established yacht building and owners in Monaco, as well as outside of Monaco, who are looking to kind of get into that space. And so certainly Cayman wants to be there hand in glove from the kind of design phase to the actual registration. And I think that's that full service suite of services that is offered by Macy is what kind of helps us to have created that dominant position, but also wanting to maintain that dominant position as well, and being very service oriented and client focused and responsive. And of course, you know, getting business and keeping business requires that you continue to be proactive in this approach. And certainly as a government, we take the need to be proactive at the highest level, something that we think is absolutely critical to ensure that we don't be complacent as a jurisdiction in anything we do, because this is a very, very competitive space, I've come to understand. And with any sort of competition, if you sit on your laurels, you run the risk of, you know, moving down the food chain, and that's not something that we are prepared to do, certainly at this time. And so we wanted to just make sure that that message was understood loud and clear at the highest level from the government's commitment and perspective.
For more information about services available from the Maritime Authority of the Cayman Islands, visit CIShipping.com. For International Day of Disaster Reduction, CIGTV will be airing a message from Minister Rivers, who also has responsibility for disaster preparedness. Ahead of the international observance, CIGTV spoke to Hazard Management Cayman Islands Director Danielle Coleman for insight into the steps government is taking to reduce exposure for the Cayman Islands in the event of a disaster.
disaster risk reduction. Now, disaster risk reduction is such an important part of what we do at hazard management, but also Cayman as a whole. So we're really encouraging members of the public and our communities to get involved in making sure that they reduce their own hazards around their houses, around their communities, and also their schools and their churches and so forth. It's such an important way to make sure that we're more resilient in the future. So if we do get an impact, for example, by a hurricane this year or next year, or any other eventuality such as a tsunami or an earthquake, we're really response ready. We know what we've got, we know what supplies we've got, we have grab bags, we have kit at home, knowing where our kids are, during the school day, making sure that we would know if we had a sudden onset event, making sure that we would know what to do in that and how we work with the school as so not to add the risk, to make the risk even more.
Minister Rivers' message on International Day of Disaster Reduction will air on CIGTV's broadcast and social media channels for the next week. To get more information, visit caymanprepared.ky. Thank you for joining us for the CIGTV News Update. I'm April Cummings in for Donna Bush. And don't forget, you can catch up with us anytime on our YouTube and Facebook pages.
Boating, fishing, and water sports in the Cayman Islands are great, but keep a cool head. Here are 7 tips for fun and safe sea outings. Number 1. Use a checklist to plan your outing. Check the weather forecast, make a float plan, and share it with someone who is remaining on land, stating where you're going, with whom, and when you're expected to return. Visit your nearest marine supply store to get your safety gear. This includes signaling mirrors, whistles, and a flare kit. It's also very important to have onboard flotation devices and life vests for each person. There are different types of vests. Some are for water sport activities such as snorkeling, and others are for going on offshore boating or on fishing trips. Number 2. These items can be lifesavers in case of an accident or bad weather. Number 3. Use a motor kill switch, especially if you're boating alone. In case of a leak or breakdown, always stay with the boat until help arrives. If you capsize, an emergency beacon or locator device can send a distress signal to inform the authorities of your location. Larger flares will indicate distress to a boat, airplane, or search and rescue officials. Number 4. In addition to sunscreen, food, and beverages, it would be smart to have a cell phone. Make sure your marine radio works. Cayman boaters use Channel 16 to communicate. Number 5. Also, don't forget your anchor and sufficient rope. Number 6. Boat operators should be familiar with the local waters and reefs, as well as the capabilities and functions of the vessels they are using. Always obey the rules of the sea and the marine environment, and have courtesy for others. Number 7. Alcohol and salt water do not mix, especially if you're the captain. Some useful contact numbers are 911. The RCIPS Marine Base is 649-7710, and the Port Authority is 949-2055. Smooth sailing, all!
Did you know that planning permission is required for an addition, alteration, or any material change to your house? The 10% rule no longer exists. Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required?